this, review the classifications articles that are part of the Way archives. This should give you the physical characteristics of collective humans. For the most part, you will find that collective angels are very tall, fair-skinned, and extremely fine-featured. Spiritual angels, of course, will reflect all the various species of humans now on this planet. Another distinguishing factor is the level of interaction both types of angels have had with mankind. Spiritual angels are more or less working on a one-to-one level. Their actions rarely affect more than one person and are more personal in nature. Collective angels can affect masses of people, and their actions can and literally have changed the entire course of human history. Let's look now at two distinct types of angelic encounters. I will try to use one that demonstrates as clearly as possible the main differences. First, we will look at an spiritual angel event. I will use as an example a story I heard many years ago. There are many more of this nature that you can study. This is simply one I found to be especially interesting. A man had recently been released from prison and had met his wife and young son at a hotel. The man desperately wanted to restart his relationship with his wife and to be a family once again. The wife, however, was unsure if she wanted the man back again. She wanted a chance to think about it on her own, so she took her young son to a picnic lunch. The man waited back at the hotel for his wife and son to return. After a short while, the man heard a desperate knocking at his door. He opened it and found his wife standing there, dirty, bruised, obviously hurt and extremely upset. She told him in a panicked voice that their son had been exploring in an old abandoned mine shaft and that there had been a cave-in. The boy was trapped inside the collapsed mine. The father was extremely upset, and so they both jumped into the car and drove to the site of the accident. Once there, his wife pointed to the mine entrance and pleaded with him to hurry. The man ran into the mine and found a large pile of rocks blocking the tunnel. He shouted through the debris and heard his young son's voice muffled through the rocks. He instantly began to rip the stones out of his way. The going was very tough, and some of the rocks were large and wedged very tightly. He was growing desperate to reach his son, as the mine appeared to be getting more and more unstable. He was afraid that there would be another cave-in and that his son would be killed if he did not reach him in time. Suddenly, two very burly truck drivers came up behind him and immediately started to help. They said that his wife had flagged them down and told them about the situation. With the help of the other two men, he was finally able to clear enough rocks to reach his son. The father picked his boy up and began to run back out of the cave along with the other two men. The boy, however, began to scream loudly that he couldn't leave and that they had to go back for his mother. The father assured his son that his mother was safe outside, a little bruised and battered, but fine. The truck driver also told the boy his mother was fine. The boy, however, was adamant. His mother was still in the mine, and she was hurt, and he would not leave her. He broke free from his father and ran back into the opening they had cleared. The father was panicked now, as he thought the mine would collapse again. He and the truckers ran back and went through the narrow opening they had made. When they reached the other side, all of them froze dead in their tracks. There, a little further in the tunnel, was another pile of debris. A hand was sticking out from under the mounds of rocks. The husband recognized the hand instantly by the wedding ring on it. It was his wife. They hurried hurriedly removed the rocks from her body, but it was more than apparent that the woman had been killed instantly. Her skull had been crushed. She had been dead since the cave-in. They carried her body out, and as they did, the tunnel collapsed completely. The truckers were scared out of their wits to see that the woman who had waved them down dead on the ground before them. The husband was terribly distraught at the loss of his wife, but at the same time overjoyed at having saved his son. This is an example of a spiritual angel. As you can see, it was in essence a personal experience that only impacted or involved a small number of people. There are many such tales like this of deceased relatives or friends coming to the aid of those they loved or cared for. It usually involved a warning of some sort of impending danger. Sometimes the events actually saved the lives of those involved. This has led to a very familiar term to be applied to the entities responsible for these events. We call them guardian angels. This, then, is an example of a spiritual angel. As we are about to see, there is a vast difference in the actions of a spiritual angel and a collective angel. Let me make one thing clear at this point. I am applying the term angel, quote unquote, to these collective humans only to assist you in distinguishing them from real spiritual angels. They are not really angels, and this is the point of this way, and that is the point of this way chapter, to help you know the difference. One other distinction should be made. Spiritual angels operate in the spiritual realm, and as such can be thought of as supernatural. Collective angels operate in the physical realm, as do you and